Broadcasting live from the Cobb Galleria Center for SOAHR 2022, it's time for North Fulton Business Radio, brought to you by Renaissance Bank. Now, here's your host.
And hello again, folks. John Ray here at SOAHR 2022, the annual conference of SHRM-Atlanta. And wow, this has been such a great day, and we've been just really blessed to have such a number of great guests. And I'm sitting alongside, I think, the best of them all. Can I say that, or am I going to get in trouble with my other guest? Okay. Akilah Charlemagne is with us, folks, and she is with, her day job is Cox Communications, and she's a HRBP director there. And then, of course, she's this year's president of SHRM-Atlanta. Akilah, welcome.
Thanks for having me, John.
I am so glad to have you. Talk a little bit about, let's give people an introduction to what you're doing at Cox first.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you said, I'm an HR business partner director, coming up on my 3-year anniversary.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I started 4 months before COVID.
Oh, wow. Timing's everything,
yes,
right?
Absolutely. So I support an amazing part of the organization, the engineering team. Super smart. Very creative. I've learned so much from them over the past 3 years. And the things that I'm passionate about is just really working with them to understand their business priorities and how to realign people's solutions to really help them achieve those. Personally, my passion is really around career development, leadership coaching. And so anytime I have an opportunity to do that and work with the employees that I support, I'm fired up for it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Talk about, you've got a real outgoing personality. I don't think that's a secret, right?
I say I'm an extreme extrovert. Yes.
I love that. So what's it like to work with all those left brain engineering types, right?
It's, I always say that they really allow me to be super creative because they are creative. They're super smart, very analytical,
right.
But by nature of the work that they do, they have to be creative. And so I love that they allow me that freedom, right, to be as colorful and bright and bold as I am. But they challenge at the same time. So not every idea I have is a great idea. Shocking, I know, John.
I know. I don't believe that.
But being able to challenge, but at the same time, they know that I'll challenge right back.
Right.
I'll ask the thoughtful questions. They know that I have all of the employees' best interests at heart, right? And so we can work together because at the end of the day, we have the same goal, right? Make sure that our employees are in a great place. They continue to develop. They have what they need so they can provide great service to our customers.
I want to come back to Cox and your work there in just a second, but talk about your HR journey.
Yeah.
How you got into HR?
So, as many of us, I don't know what the exact data point is, but many of us didn't grow up dreaming of being a human resources professional. So I started my career in banking. So 5 years I spent there, worked in as a manager in a call center, which is a really hard industry and profession to be in, lots of turnover. And I didn't know what the HR people did other than process my payroll, but I knew I wanted to get involved to enhance the orientation and onboarding experience. And so I approached my HR person. I was like, how would you feel about me bringing in 2 of my top performers to really talk about what it's like to work in this role so that when the new employees hit the floor, now they have a buddy, someone they can ask maybe the silly questions to that they don't feel comfortable asking their manager.
All right.
And by doing that, I really got this bug for training and development. So, John, I thought I was going to become a teacher. I went down to the Department of Education in DeKalb County. I was living there, and got my books to become, to get the training and pass the exam.
Right.
And then a friend of mine, we worked together. Our first jobs out of college. She was working for Target, a little small company you probably never heard of.
Yeah, right.
And said, hey, they're hiring for my role. She was in Boston at the time, in Atlanta. I think you'd be great. Reached out, went through the interview process. I actually didn't get that first job, but they enjoyed my personality, my drive, my energy, and said, hey, what are your thoughts on becoming an HR manager in one of our stores? Worked in retail for 7 years. Such a great training ground from an HR perspective because I was not just the HR manager, I also was in the store assistant general manager. So I had to understand how the operations function, how we made money, what does profitability look like, understand what every single person in the store did.
Oh, wow.
And so that gave
training.
me really great perspective.
Yeah.
So when someone came to my office, had a concern, had an idea, I had walked in their shoes. I knew what they were doing, and be able to really bring that people and that human into human resources.
Yeah, you weren't some disembodied voice over the phone. I mean, you were right there alongside them,
I
right?
worked right in this. I worked the nights, the weekends, the holidays,
right.
all of it. So I understood.
Wow, that's terrific. So, so somewhere along the way, you got to Cox.
Yes.
Talk about that.
And I have to give a shout out to my former employer, ADP, who's also here as a sponsor.
Okay.
So yeah, I spent 4 years there and then transitioned to Cox. The big part of my story is that there was a friend or a colleague, most of the career pivots I had, that picked up the phone, that sent me an email that said, hey, think you'd be great for this. So same thing with Cox.
Right.
My friend and colleague was actually leaving the company to go work for another small company, Amazon, and called me up and said, hey, I think you'd be really perfect for my position. Referred me. Again, didn't get that job. Okay. But a few months later, they reached back out and said, hey, we think you would be a great addition to the Cox family, just in a different role. And I really believe timing is everything. Yep. I enjoy supporting the engineering organization.
That's great.
And it would have been great probably supporting the other team, but this is the timing of it. This is the place where I needed to be, right, to continue to grow in my journey. So I'm so grateful for the referral and for the opportunity. And that's why SHRM-Atlanta is so great. Getting my job at ADP, getting my job at Cox, so we're both people I met right here through SHRM-Atlanta.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I was going there. We talk about the benefits of membership in SHRM-Atlanta. Talk about that collaboration, that networking, I think that just, it sounds old-fashioned, but the helpfulness that people have for each other.
Yeah, absolutely. So I moved back to Atlanta 10 years ago, my third time living here, but it's stuck for the last 10 years. And I knew I was a member of SHRM National, which is great, but I knew I wanted to develop relationships here in Atlanta. And so started coming to meetings. And at the time, I didn't have my HR certification, which was a really big deal and an accomplishment. And just through meeting people through SHRM-Atlanta who had their certification, they would share, hey, here's some resources that might be helpful for you. Best practices. Here are maybe some places to consider taking a workshop. So helpful, as you mentioned. Ultimately passed my certification, and then was able to pay it forward with others who were looking to get certified as well. But through the last 10 years, the people that I've met who have been accountability partners, I've met my coach, who was a speaker at one of our conferences a few years ago, people who've become friends. I can pick up the phone and say, hey, I'm going through this challenge. What are you doing? What are some of your best practices your company are enlisting? But then at the same time, it's been really challenging the last 3 years. So knowing that I have a cohort, a group of people that we can go through life together, the ups and the downs, I always say SHRM-Atlanta is not just a professional association. There's a lot you can get from a professional perspective, from a learning perspective, but it's the relationships that I've built that's helped me. And I would add, as a volunteer leader, I started as a committee member, right? And then being able to take on additional responsibilities throughout the years to then now serving as president 10 years after joining the organization, I'm super proud of. I've learned and gained so much by being a servant leader in addition to being a member.
Yeah, I want you to, obviously Cox has supported you in quite well in your journey in SHRM. They've allowed you to do that because they see the benefit that comes back to Cox because of all the learning and development that you get by being involved with SHRM. Let's talk to those companies, that are looking, their HR professionals are requesting to be more involved in SHRM. Let's make the case.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, at a minimum, it's that outside-in perspective that you get. You can read articles, you can listen to podcasts, you can, but really being engaged and attending conferences or chapter meetings, webinars, to get that additional information. I will tell you, 2.5 years ago when COVID first started, we were all trying to figure out this new way of working. Being able to have people that might be a VP of HR
right.
or HR director at a different company, and being able to pick up the phone or even just be on a webinar and hear the things that they were doing in their organization that maybe we weren't doing, that we needed to consider doing, and bringing that back and sharing those ideas have been a huge value add. And also, I think all of us as employees are brand ambassadors for the companies that we work for and with, right? So whether I'm here at a SHRM-Atlanta conference, I'm also providing visibility to the company that I work for as well, and saying, hey, they allow me to be here. They're passionate about me pouring into my development. That's great brand recognition as well.
Yeah, for sure. So I want to bring this up. I don't want to embarrass you. Okay. But I was at the December meeting when you took the gavel.
Yes, you were there.
I was there. And the whole room stood up and applauded, gave you a standing ovation when you took the gavel, right?
Sweet.
Didn't they?
Very sweet.
They sure did. And so that says something about how everybody around here feels about you.
I'm so grateful, right? I actually had a friend who used to be in HR. She's now an amazing flight attendant for Delta, flew in from Texas.
Wow.
She didn't even tell me.
Wow.
I turned around and she was there. I was shocked. I'm so grateful for the people that I am blessed to know, right? That are cheerleaders, that are encouragers, that are accountability partners. And so that's part of, it's important to develop relationships, but it's even more important to sustain them.
Yeah.
And I think during COVID, we had to switch how we thought about developing and sustaining relationships.
Sure.
So maybe it wasn't a coffee or a lunch or a happy hour. Maybe it was just simply catching up virtually. Sometimes I call, I'm like, can we just have an old school phone call? No Zoom, no Teams. Can we just talk on the phone?
Yeah. And
it's so, and what I realized during that time, even more so, that people are truly wanting to spend time with. And once the world got back to semi-normal, who were the first people that I wanted to make sure I connected with and hung out with? And many of them, quite honestly, are people that I've met through SHRM-Atlanta. Wow,
that's terrific. So you have got to be, I was going to ask you about what do you think the highlights of your term as president have been. SOAHR 2022 has got to be one of those.
Yeah, absolutely. Just checking in with attendees who have come. Some are members, some are future members, as I like to say.
Yep.
And just ask them how the day is going. It's also important that we provide a great experience. So smiling, greeting people, thanking our sponsors and our partners for being here, because we could not do this without you and the amazing partners that we have here in the exhibit hall. So appreciation and gratitude goes a long way, but SOAHR is definitely a highlight. I can't wait to do my day one recap.
That's awesome. And this I think you were saying it before we came on the air, that it's just people are connecting that haven't really seen each other in person for 3+ years, right?
Absolutely.
So it's like a homecoming.
It is. I feel like we need to have like a marching band next time, right?
I know it. I love it. At a big old buffet back there somewhere,
exactly,
right? Yeah,
exactly.
You always have food at a homecoming, right? Yeah, that's awesome stuff. So, as you look ahead, what's in store for the rest of the year?
Yeah. So, I told Jason Klein, who's our CEO, it doesn't matter what my role is with SHRM-Atlanta. This organization is very near and dear to my heart, and I will continue to serve it in whatever capacity that I can. So just continue to grow, right? Yeah. Learn, be a support for others. Always happy to connect with others who want to learn more about HR, if they're curious about it. Just continue to make sure that I'm providing as best of an employee experience for the employees that I support and serve at Cox. And to have fun and laugh. Joy and gratitude are super important because there are ups and downs in life, and we're not guaranteed happiness, but we can choose joy.
Yeah, for sure. What a great...
Look at my paparazzi over here.
I know it. Yeah, it's like, boy, we suddenly got popular when you showed up. It's amazing how that works. So let's give some again just some coordinates here on how people can get in touch with you, and how they can learn more about SHRM.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're on LinkedIn, Akilah Charlemagne, I'm the only Akilah Charlemagne. It's AKILAH CHARLEMAGNE. My maiden name was Noel, so the fact that I moved from 4 letters to 11 is a lot. On Instagram, it's just Akilah Connect, so AKILAHCONNECTS. It's the same thing on Twitter.
There's only one Akilah Charlemagne, folks. And we've got her. Akilah, this has been awesome.
Thank
you so
John.
much. Yeah, thanks for taking the time to stop by.
Absolute pleasure.